better not cry on camera.
I would never cry on camera unless, something happened like I don't know, with the kid. That would be a reason for me to cry. It'd have to be something pretty damn emotional. But welcome everybody back to the fandom zone. It is the most earth-breaking, ground-shaking, but never media show money taking. The man, the myth, the legend, the most electrifying villain in YouTube entertainment today. Here to bring you a sad day, because after today, it's gonna be one of those things that I won't be able to talk about, but I'm gonna be sad. I'm not gonna be able to talk about. Like when I said bye to Rise of Trash, I was like, yes, I'm finally not gonna have to talk about it, hear about it. Well, you know, at least I won't personally talk about it, and I haven't, and I've been happier. But tonight we're ending the Clone Wars, like, and there's such a finality to it, and I just realized it. Like I was watching Jeremy Johns. Jeremy, if you're out there, please subscribe to me. Follow me on Twitter.
No, bruh. Look, no, man. No grown man should beg another grown man on anything, bruh.
Why won't you answer? No, but no, it's I was watching it, and watching that review, he said something that struck me. He's like, it felt like a definitive end to the show. Like there's not gonna be another one. We might see spin-offs and stuff, but that part of the Star Wars saga, that part of the Star Wars cinematic universe is over. And yeah, it's a bittersweet kind of a thing. But tonight we're gonna take a look back at the season as a whole, and you guys have gotten our opinions and stuff, and just kind of pick out the good, the bad, the ugly, how we feel overall, and how it works completed. Because when you do this from week to week, you don't have a good sense until you watch everything and you see how it flows. And then you can really tell if there's things that are off, that aren't off, things like that. And I've said it with The Mandalorian too. That show was terrible to try to piece together until you could watch it straight through, because then it made sense. So we're gonna go down the line here, and I'm gonna ask you guys first. What did you think of the season overall? And what are your thoughts of feelings? Like, is this a good ending? Are you happy about it? All that good jazz. And I'll start with Pop Culture PB. What do you think?
I mean, overall, it was a good season. I don't know if I would be able to say that it was a great season, but I like to look at it because it was half a season essentially when you compare it to the rest of them. So I look at it like it was a movie. Like you have your first act, your second act, your third act. The first act was really strong. The second act was weak, and the third act was epic.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, I like comparing it because it really did feel more cinematic per se than most of the other seasons did, where most of them to me felt kind of in that television episodic format. This felt like, wow, they could really do this as a little like mini movie or something. And we'll get to that part because I got some strong feelings really analyzing things. But let's go to Burt. And Burt, I saw you on LB's amazing stream when he did his season wrap up. I can pretty much guess what your feelings are, but what do you feel overall?
For the entire season, I'd have to give it like a C plus. And the first arc, the Bad Batch arc, that was pretty good. You know, it was good to have my friend Star Wars back. I did not like the Martez arc. You know, that's maybe a D in my book. And this newest one, the newest arc is probably like a B plus. So I'm giving it a C plus overall. I'm happy to have my friend Star Wars back. I keep saying that, and I'm not you know, I can't hate. They gave me what I've been wanting is Clone Wars, and I got it. I feel like I keep doing basketball references, but I feel like Kevin Durant after he won the championship with the Warriors, and he was like, "This is it," you know, like there's still something unsatisfying, unfulfilling about it to me. But you know, I think if I would have felt a stronger finish to even this arc, I would have felt much better about it, but I didn't.
All right, that's a pretty fair assessment. Your grading system, really, really good and fair stuff there. I'm tending to agree, Mr. LB. What was your feelings? Because I've known you said we weren't supposed to have this.
All right, this was probably the best season of Clone Wars that was ever created. I mean, every single episode was just about perfect. The only episode that was not a perfect 10 was maybe episode 5 in the Martez storyline. But man, I don't think there was ever 12 episodes of television that you could compare ever, and say that it was much better.
Tell
No,
Bob
it would be
Iger
tough
said
to
hi.
go back in
Wow.
another season and pick 12 episodes out of another season.
No,
Because the other seasons are working with twice as much content.
I was just playing, but I enjoyed the season. I liked it. I mean,
I knew you were.
so it wasn't a perfect season. It wasn't, I don't, even if I did a binge watch and rewatch all the seasons, I don't think I would say it's the best season. But I'm not going to go and say it's the best or the worst or the middle, because I don't even remember all of the seasons, to be honest with you. But yeah, I mean, I know I'm a little bit more higher on the Martez arc than a lot of y'all. Well, not probably, but I am. Trace is still dumb, obviously, but I enjoyed it overall. And like you said, man, like we wasn't even supposed to get this, so I'm kind of on, like, I'm one of those people that be happy that you got it, and I hate that kind of person, honestly. But hey, man, the show got canceled. How many shows get canceled out of nowhere, and then they turn around later on? It's like, hey, look, man, I know we messed up, but we're gonna give you a little something just to make you feel better. So I'm cool with this.
Yeah, not very many shows get the resurrection treatment. I'm a fan of Lucifer, so that show did get pulled back. But there's a time frame, and this is what makes Clone Wars unique, is there's a time frame where people will be like, yeah, we're shopping different networks, and then they come back and they're like, sorry guys, it ain't happening. You just got to deal with it. Like, you got a time frame where people just move on, or the studio moves on, or other people just don't give a shit anymore, and it just falls into obscurity. And this is one of those rare instances where and I'm just gonna say this, I don't want to be one of those people, but Disney dropped the ball with a lot of the different Star Wars things, and I think that they wanted a win for them. They saw how well received The Mandalorian was, and they're like, well, what else can we bring back that's gonna get us the views and the clicks, and you know what I mean, and get the subscribers. So from a business standpoint, this was probably one of the smartest moves they've done with the Star Wars universe. Because let's be honest, they still aren't selling Rise of Skywalker toys, and no one gives a shit about the movie end much. So
By the way,
I think
people,
they need.
Sorry to cut you off, but while you talking about toys, you can get a Trace action figure on Amazon.com, people.
How much?
Oh my God.
That's like, I mean, Amazon ain't shipping stuff out immediately, but if you get your Martez sister, and if you get both of the toys,
Right.
2-for-1 deal, you can get it delivered to you tomorrow.
Dude, there's. I'm gonna buy
what?
him. Hey, I'm gonna buy him and send it to Ben from Fanatics of Film so he could like break them in half.
Oh man, I
no,
I
was
was gonna
watching
say,
that.
does Amazon sell M80s too?
Yeah. I don't, like, honestly, I don't even know if they make Clone Wars toys.
Hey, can I just say real quick though
I know
about
they used to.
yeah, the Martez sisters, even that arc, it's more of a product. The more hate it gets, from my opinion, is just the product of its time when it was released. If that was released in season 4 or 3, they'd be an okay arc. It's and they're likable enough, especially Rafa.
Rafa is baby. Yeah, man. Like I mean, I think we talked about this a few times. Like, if that arc was, I mean, if this season was a full season, I don't think people would have minded it, but it's just the whole fact. Like, hold on, you giving us 12 episodes, and this is what we get? No, this is supposed to be like Game of Thrones. Everything, boom, 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 boom,
Right.
boom.
Right. No joke.
Yeah.
Why wasn't it? You know, that's a problem, though.
Yeah.
And there I go. But I'm grateful, Star Wars, Disney. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, at least they did us justice and gave us something, and they didn't try to water it down like the theory was out there or anything like that. They were, they kept it Clone Wars. They didn't Disneyfy it, as I'm gonna coin as a phrase for stuff that Disney does.
Yeah.
They just let it be Clone Wars. And I think for the Martez sisters and the things like that, I think if we have real issues, for once, we're talking about writing and structure issues finally, as opposed to SJW narrative pushing, all the other things that we're forced to talk about these days. It's nice to just be like, yeah, this was just poorly timed, or the writing for this was slightly off. That's how I like to review things. I don't like to come out and be like, oh, well, look at the agendas again. It gets tiring because there's just so much of that I like to critique something based on the merits of the product, as opposed to the extra shit.
If anybody out there tells you or anyone that there was an agenda in season 7 of the Clone Wars, they are the one with an agenda.
That's deep. That's deep.
Oh yeah, facts. And it's great because these EU people, I just love hearing nothing. That's the greatest sound.
I mean, like PB said with the agenda thing, man. It's like if you can find something in anything if you really want to, and
for sure.
It just gets to a point. Well, I mean, I've been past this for a long time, but some people just got to realize, man, it's not them, it's you.
Yep.
LV, that's funny, man. But as far as agendas go, I mean, I like I said, I kind of liked the Martez arc. If it wasn't the time, it was the timing. But I could see it as with only so much real estate, they made a point to introduce 2 new females of color, in just to get more diversity in but at the cost of 4 episodes of the last season. But I don't know.
Hey, there, General Zod. This is your stream, buddy.
Sorry about that. Running through taking care of stuff, the aftermath of the youngest dictator turning slightly older. But anyways, yeah, so I agree. Like, these days you can find stuff in anything if you're really looking hard enough. But if you're just watching the show for watching the show, then it's good to be able to pick out structural stuff. And yeah, the Martez sisters, especially considering that it really led to nothing, was more annoying that even if they were in the last episodes for a split second, then it would validate that arc. But it's like, really, it makes you wonder, what was the point of this whole thing? You could have easily shown Ahsoka doing other stuff and convey the message of her seeing things that are happening that the Jedi aren't taking care of. You can have her walking along Coruscant and see families talking crap and things like that, and people poor, and then you would have got the same effect and wasted less time and had more episodes to play around with for the final, as opposed to make a whole arc dedicated to this theory.
I mean, when we talked about it the other day, I tried to get into that, like on some, okay, you don't like this arc. What could have been done to improve it, or like a different kind of storyline? But my homie was basically like, remove it. Can
I answer that question?
We didn't quite get there, so like, if you don't mind, I put that question to y'all for this one.
Ooh, excellent. I have an answer for it. You have 4 episodes. The whole point of that storyline was to show the reasons why Ahsoka left the Jedi Order. So, what they could have done is instead of having her interact with only one family, she could have interacted with 4 different families or 4 individuals. And you could have had 4 episodes that aren't connected to each other than the fact that it's just Ahsoka being the main character. And she could have done 4 individual stories. And then in that last story, it could have still played out halfway the same, where she ends up meeting with the Mandalorians and they're like, we need your help. That way you're still getting the, oh, this is why the Jedi suck, because they don't care about people. They just care about this greater good and peace throughout the galaxy. It doesn't matter who they hurt. So you could have gotten that without wasting this time on, oh, what do we do with the spice? Well, we dumped it in space.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And then she could have ran into other characters that we love. Like, imagine if they do this entire spice story, like she could have still ran into Rafa and Trace, and that could have been like one, and then maybe tail into another episode, and then maybe they run into Hondo or Cad Bane, and they're trying to rob them or something like that.
She already has a relationship with Ventress. You know, I was thinking they would be just homies together. Maybe even Ahsoka's doing a little bit of petty crime.
Oh, there you go.
Or bounty hunting. You know, not bounty hunting, but capturing people. You know, their Ventress was already kind of turning towards at least the middle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
they're almost on the same side at this point.
Yeah. And if I was Maul, that's the person I'd be going to look. We'll get to that actually, but I don't want to get to that. Jump ahead.
Yeah. So, for me, I would have pretty much done the same thing that PB said, but I would have maybe if they wanted to make these characters Trace and Rafa have, you know, their day in the sun or whatever they were doing, you could do 4 separate stories, have them along, and then by the end of it, have them leave, but they're all like, you know, I've learned something, and that, you know, there's some Jedi out there that actually care, and, you know, maybe we're looking at things wrong, and it affects them. Like, yeah, they're gonna leave, but they've taken a lesson, because by the end of it, I felt like Ralpha and Trace didn't learn anything really, didn't change, especially Trace. Rafa maybe, but, you know, there was no growth. So what's the point?
Yeah. You're right about Trace. She didn't grow. Rafa, I mean, I think Rafa did. I mean, Rafa went from, look, I ain't trusting nobody. I ain't even trusting my sister to, okay, you cool.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that it really hits home the point. When you don't have character development in your characters, it makes people feel like everyone feels with that arc, that it was a waste of time, because these characters, you don't give them any life lessons, and that's the problem in a lot of writing when you're doing this stuff, especially rushed stuff or things like that. You know, these like introductory characters get thrown to the wayside, and it's like, if you're going to feature a character like that and we're going to see him for 4 episodes, they have to have some kind of development. Otherwise, it's just a waste of time. So, yeah, that's just my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm leaning towards what PB said. I mean, that was my whole thoughts. It's like, man, like, you could have been showing some. I mean, I ain't gonna go back over what PB said, but like, I feel like this could have been turned into like a 2 arc, because I mean, Clone Wars has done that. Like, they haven't done 4 episode arcs every single time. Like, they've done like 1-2 episode type thing. So they could have done that, and it could have led into something else. But you know, it is what it is. I was just interested to see, you know, what people who didn't like this arc too much thought, what could have been done instead or better. And I definitely agree about they could have used more people. Like she could have been down there in the trenches, like seeing what's going on instead of just dealing with two people. Because like you really don't get a sense of the underworld of Coruscant from just talking to two people.
Right. And they don't seem that knowledgeable of the underworld if she's willing to just dump all the drugs.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, man, that was and while we're on the subject of characters making introductions, I love the Bad Batch, but once again, this is my main problem with the season as a whole, and I'll get to it a little bit later. But the more I think about it, there was a lot of disposable introductory characters that didn't feel like that in Clone Wars as a whole. You had a lot of different characters, villains introduced, but they got several episodes to shine, and you kind of got a sense of who they were. And in this season, it was just like they were introduced to move the story along rather than giving them a purpose within the story. They were like plot devices just to keep us going forward. And I hate when writers do that because it feels like you're under the gun or something like that. It doesn't feel like constructed, like, you have a goal. You just kind of like, hey, how am I going to move from point A to point B? Well, these 4 characters will get me there. And then, kind of meet them. Granted, they were more well-developed, but I would have liked to know what happened to the Bad Batch when Order 66 went down. I mean, they weren't normal clones. Were they affected? Did they go and do their own thing? It would have been nice to get a little bit of callbacks towards the end so you kind of get a sense of where everyone was, because they weren't normal clones. So did Order 66 affect them? Did they have a chip?
I would assume they had a chip.
Well, no, because they said they were built. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, it seems strange in season 7, being that it is the last season, and with the way it ended, I don't see how they're going to do a spin-off. Like, you're at the end of the timeline, unless you're going to make a different show that tells some in-between story. You can't tell anything that's going on during the Clone Wars unless you're going to go back in time now. But it seems strange to me that you're in season 7. How many new characters did they introduce that are integral to the story? The Bad Batch, you got 4 characters. Trace and Rafa, now you're up to 6 characters. 6 brand new characters, and that's not including any of the villains. Like, I don't remember if we've seen Pike or any of the Pike people in the previous seasons.
We have.
But yeah, you compare those 6 characters to anybody that we've ever been introduced to in the past. I expected 1 or 2 of them to pop up in a scene here or a scene there, because that's what they did before. You get introduced to Cad Bane, he disappears for a season, he pops back up. You get introduced to Hondo, he disappears for a season, he pops back up. You can't do that with the final season, but what they could have done is, instead of using these brand new characters, go back into your litany of characters. I mean, you've had over 100 episodes, so you got people to choose from, and just pick one here or there. They don't have to be primary characters. It doesn't have to be any of the big bounty hunters. It doesn't have to be any of the Jedi. It doesn't even have to be any of the well-known clones. Just somebody we've run into in the past that's already been introduced that can accomplish the same story goals that were accomplished by these brand new characters, so that it seems a little more connected.
Mm-hmm. If I agree with you, PB, and if you're going to introduce the Bad Batch characters, they should have been on board the ship at the end in the final arc, maybe helping Ahsoka or something, like
something.
Like Zod said, a callback and a payoff. It's almost lazy that they didn't connect everything.
Yeah, that was my thing, and I do give them credit, and I go back to what LB was saying about being happy with it, but it's just the story structure itself, it felt like a holy shit moment for that staff where they were like, whoa, they're giving us another season. Oh God, like, how are we going to do this? Are people going to remember it? It's like, yeah, people will remember, or they'll go back and they'll go, wait, that character looks familiar. Let me go to Disney that has all of the Clone Wars. Oh, there they are. Or they'll Wikipedia it, or the thousand other things people can do. They'll want to know, like when people get excited, because someone will know something, even the obscured characters, and they'll be like, wow, he was in season 4, episode 8. I know that guy. And it'll trend, and then people will go back out of curiosity, and then you get more rewatches and things like that. It's like, I don't know. Sometimes with Star Wars, they don't do the MCU. They're very bad at marketing and playing off of what they already have.
They must be communists, man. They hate money.
You know, I this might sound a little crazy, but this season, it could honestly feel like the lost episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you remember, like, the last episode, they were just random episodes. Like, despite this one had arcs, right? But at the same time, it's like the Bad Batch arc doesn't really connect to the second arc or the third arc. The second arc connects to the third arc, but, like, you know, everything up till the Mandalorians show up, you don't really need it into the grand scheme of the final arc.
Right.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. It's like it was connected but disjointed at the same time, which is a really way to tell the story. I would have liked a little bit more of a flow, and more of what they did towards the latter seasons of Clone Wars, where you had one half that dealt with one arc, the second half dealt with the second arc, and they kind of loosely transitioned from one to the other. This one transitioned very rocky. Like, you got the Bad Batch and then the Trace arc, and then bam, the grand finale. But I've heard a lot of people say, and I tend to incline, you could have just used the last 4 episodes and gotten probably more of an effect, or even just like use the Bad Batch and maybe did 1 episode of the Trace arc and been good.
Yeah.
You could have did without a Trace and then just cut right into, because I kept on saying the Mandalorians were telling her, why the hell did they wait until they were captured and ran into a giant circle and wind up back in prison and all that, when they could have just been like, yeah, hey, I know you're doing this, but there's a war and we need your help. So hop on this ship and let's do it.
Great.
It felt very padded and unnecessary just to pad out an episode length or a season length. Quantity does not always equal quality. So
yeah, and
would that be
like you said, they could have just been 2 episodes altogether and then this last arc. I would have been fine with that. If they just gave me this Clone Wars finale as a movie and that was it, I would have been great. That would have been probably better.
I feel like if they would have made the Martez arc 2 episode, people would still complain.
Oh yeah. After 1 episode, it'll be after 1 episode,
And I feel like, say for example, we only got the last 4 episodes and they made a TV movie out of it.
Yeah.
I feel like people would have still complained.
Just about the movie? I don't know. I don't know what there would be really to complain about.
Man, that would have been a great idea.
What do you mean? Guaranteed they would have complained. They would have said, you cut all this other stuff, you were supposed to have this, not to mention the fact that it's Disney Star Wars.
Yeah.
Man, not straight up though, like thinking about it, like a movie, how they did when the Clone Wars, the movie that came out, like doing something like that would have been cool. I'd have been down with that.
Yeah.
The irony of this is that people bitched about that movie when it first came out. I remember that very vividly. I actually went to see the movie in theaters when it came out. And I remember my theater being crowded, and it got tons of people went to see it, but tons of people bitched about it, and they're like, "What is this? What is this animation? What are they doing? Blah 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 blah."
Yeah, people were
And
mad
now
at
we're
that.
screen, and now we're sitting here going, "Why didn't they do a movie?"
True.
I mean, it's really ironic when you think about the whole situation as a whole, and you know, I find that funny. So let's go down the line and let's ask. I'm gonna go a little bit differently. Let me ask you guys just a singular episode. What would be your best episode and your worst episode out of every single one of them? And I'll start with Mr. Pop Culture PB.
Wait, say that again.
The best episode out of the whole season and the worst episode out of the whole season.
Oh, so the best episode is, what is that? Episode 10 is the lightsaber duel,
Mm-hmm.
correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So yeah, that's definitely the best episode for me. It had everything that I was looking for. Like, I'm pretty sure there was a dogfight in that episode. Not 100%. And then the worst episode, I'm pretty sure is, at least for me, I think it was episode 6 is the one where they're traveling in the ship for the majority of the time and Trace decides to dump the spice into space.
Right.
Yep.
Like, I got a solution to our problems. Here we go, motherfuckers. And then we look at her like, no, that didn't solve the problem. You just made everything worse. You dumb bitch.
I wish that
Yeah, I mean,
dialogue could have been in the
Talking
show.
about the best episode, I'm going to have to go back and like reconsider my rankings for the greatest lightsaber duels ever, because that was one of the best lightsaber fights I've ever seen. And you know that it was even that much better than any of the lightsaber duels that we've had in the Clone Wars, because they did motion capture. I don't know who did Ahsoka's part for the motion capture, but I know that Ray Park did Darth Maul's part for the motion capture, and you can absolutely tell that he was doing it by watching that episode.
Oh yeah, 100%. That fight was so clean and so much detail.
when
Like
he-
my God.
Right? I'm not at the start of that lightsaber duel, when he pulled his lightsaber out, turned it sideways and turned it on just like the Phantom Menace, got a chill down my spine.
Hey, so did I. But you know what I loved even more about it was the furthering of the real story that I want to see, which was like Maul trying to get Ahsoka to go kill Sidious together. You know, like that was really their dialogue was incredible in that lightsaber duel.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, you usually get trash talk when you're in a lightsaber duel, not, hey, I know we're fighting, but you should still be on my side.
Yeah. Your boy Anakin got mushroom brains.
Yeah, like that's another thing too. That's a great thing to point out is the dialogue. Even in the bad episodes, the dialogue was on point. I'm sitting here watching it, going, "This dialogue is unreasonably good for a cartoon." A cartoon. I watch live action that does not have great dialogue like this. I mean, there was a lot of things. Even when you're pissed off at Trace, it's like the characters mirrored what the fans felt like. And it's little things like that that I can appreciate you take the time to make people speak like real world instead of doing this cartoon bullshit where they're like, "Oh, well, we'll figure it out together, guys. Yeah." It's like, no, you're an idiot. What'd you just do?
Right.
Like the dialogue moments were actually pretty much all through it were very adult and mature for a cartoon, and I could appreciate that. Mr. Burt, what was your least favorite and the most favorite? I know you love Trace, but you gotta pick something.
You know, before I answer this too, I'll also say my favorite line of the season was probably all right, you can leave, civilian, you know, and that was Mace Windu. At ease, civilian, you know, but no, my favorite, my least favorite episode, probably the second or third episode of the Martez arc, when it finally hit me that they're doing 4 fucking episodes of this shit. I don't know which one exactly that hit. It was one of them, right in the middle there. And my favorite episode, you know, I'm probably partial. I'm probably with PB on this one, but I'll be different. I'll say my favorite episode now is the last episode because I just like the final scene with Vader.
Yeah, that was
and it's the connection to the Mortis trilogy. Then you know, with the crow flying above, that's what I was like. Wow, okay, that's such a payoff there.
Yeah.
That was a crow?
Or whatever, not a crow, whatever you guys remember the Mortis arc, right?
Yeah.
I mean, vaguely.
It's like the Force God. I don't know what and he has 2 kids, and one's a Sith dude, and the brother, and the other one's like a female like good Jedi, and they're like I don't know how you describe it, Zod.
Yeah, it was yeah. Me neither.
It's like a family that is the Force, and the son was a different type of creature, like a bat, I think, right?
Yeah, like a giant bat thing.
Yeah, and she was a bird or some type of pretty dove animal shit. I don't know.
Okay,
it wasn't a crystal fox, PB.
Oh.
That's what's flying above Anakin's head, and he looks up, and and so I was like, oh, it would have been cool if he would have just like pulled that bird to his lightsaber.
Been like, symbolism, die.
Yeah, you just see a bunch of singed feathers flying in the wind.
Just made a cape full of the feathers. Yeah, that would have been hilarious.
Right.
So yeah, those were some solid choices. Thank you, you son of a bitch, for stealing mine. Mr. LB, what was your favorite and least favorite of the whole entire season?
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna contradict myself, but anyway, whatever. The Phantom Apprentice was my favorite episode, and my least favorite was the one where they started in jail and ended in jail.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
You stole my least favorite one. I just think about those games you play where you start in one place, and then because they have to drag out the game, you end right back up there, and you're like, son of a bitch. And you have to go back through and find a different path. That's what that episode felt like. It felt like a really bad RPG. Like, oh, we took a wrong direction. Gonna take another episode. I'm like, oh, God, why?
Right.
And the escape wasn't much different the second time around. It's like, Jesus Christ. I was just like, what are you doing? What are you doing, Dave? Come on.
Hey, you know a woman wrote that episode.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny you'd bring that up, because just today I got into a circular argument with a unicorn, and I'm like, this is what it felt like to be in that episode. I'm right back where I fucking started.
It's a circle jerk, dude.
I'm like, well, clearly she watched Clone Wars while I wasn't looking, because this argument's going right back around. But yeah.
You mean like you got in an argument on Twitter, or some woman was dressed as a unicorn?
No. My girlfriend, she's bitchy unicorn. You could see her making fun of me on late nights. Yeah, we got into an argument about the car, and then the argument ended where we started, and nothing got resolved except for she drove off pissed off. So I was like, she's out of the house, so I win.
Hey, man, sounds like a resolution to me. You were left alone.
You stay winning, Zod.
I was like, hashtag winning, hashtag Tiger Blood. No, but yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm with LB's choice. I hate that prison episode with a passion, because it's just like, There was no point except for dragging it out. There's no reason or rhyme to have it end right there. They could have did another episode with them and been out of that place. I got tired of looking at the walls and the stupid guards and their inability to realize that they got to the button from the outside and they're like, are we going to post a guard? No, it'll be all right. They'll be good. They'll stay in the cell this time. It's like, Jesus Christ. These are the worst bad guys ever. This is like 90s bad guys where they told you the whole plot and the good guy didn't have to figure it out. That's what it felt like.
I mean, and the Pikes are supposed to be the cartel, or a cartel, so it's like, it's stupid.
Yeah, it felt like the 90s cartel where they were like, yeah, we're going to blow this up and there's no way you'll figure it out even though I've got you tied down and you're going to escape and kill everyone and then stop me. That's what like the only saving grace is that you saw Maul talking. Like that was the only part that got me invested and then I'm like, and we're back running through hallways yet again.
Well, if they would have oh sorry, go ahead, Zod.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say if they would just have combined the 4-story arc into one episode, that would have been a good way to end the only episode with the Martez sisters.
Oh man. Burt, you sound like me with Brie Larson. You really hate the Martez sisters.
No, I don't hate them, dude. I know I sound like I do, but you check out my man Fanatics of Film. I don't hate them at all. I actually like the Martez sisters. I'd watch another arc of them if it was on. I mean, I like it. It was like I keep saying, it's the timing.
Mm-hmm. And I know how Fanatics smell. I was watching that with ULB.
Passionate.
Yeah, he's very passionate about his hatred towards. I'm like, good God.
It's okay, man. It's okay. You know, if we all had the same opinion, lives would be boring.
Amen to that. But yeah, I'd have to say my favorite was the last episode, and for a different reason. I liked the last episode because I hope John Campia never messages me and goes, I feel you, bro. But the emotional weight behind the last episode. Yes, I know. The emotional weight behind it, it hit me on two levels. It hit me because I realized the finality of it was like there was not going to be another set. Like we had a theory, part 2 is coming, and it was like you get to the end and you're like, no, there's no part 2. Like we're in the middle of Order 66. They're really like finishing it up, and just the scene with Ahsoka looking out and seeing the clones' helmets and things like that. There were so many good moments where they didn't say anything, but they let the music and the shot kind of draw you into the scene. And, as I get older and I start to see other movies that do that, I appreciate movies now where they don't have to say anything. You just have the music playing in the background, you have the shot going, and they're conveying a lot by just standing there and their facial expressions. And the way she drops that lightsaber is fucking heartbreaking. It's just like, because I thought about why she didn't want to kill clones, right? Now, if you take Obi-Wan Kenobi in Revenge of the Sith, and he's calling up and he goes, my clones have turned on me. Oh, well, we've got to solve this mystery, right? There's no like emotional depth. He's just like, oh, well, shit went down. I got to go and figure out what's going on here. With her, it was like best friends. She was friends with these clones. Like she was invested and attached to them. She knew them on a personal level where most Jedis only saw them as a tool. So to see that final shot where all of their helmets are lined up and she's just got this look like, I'm done, this is fucked up, it's really sad.
Can you explain something to me in the last episode, since I wasn't here last week to talk about it? Because it really pissed me off, and I was sitting there for like half of the episode going, okay, that didn't make any sense. Why in the fuck does Ahsoka tell Rex to put his blaster on stun so they're not going to kill anybody when she let Darth Maul out, which is essentially conspiracy to commit murder. What did she think was going to happen?
Well,
Hey,
at that point,
Like, she let them out, and then, or she gets Rex fixed, and then she goes, or he says to her, "What about Maul? He's been released." And she goes, "Yeah, I know. I let him out as a distraction." And Rex goes, "Oh, that's one thing to call it." And he was thinking what I was thinking. This is conspiracy to commit murder. You're going to get everybody killed, you motherfucker. And she did.
She did. She did. Hey, but what do you think happened when she threw the door through the guys? They weren't living from that right out the bat.
Fuck no.
they'd
a
be all right.
heavy-ass door, man.
That armor's sturdy.
You know,
You know,
and Yoda didn't give two fucks. He just swiped heads off.
Yeah, man.
Fucking A,
Yoda
man.
was
He's like,
savage,
"I've been
though.
working with these clones for years. They're trying to kill me. Dead."
Yeah. Like I felt though. I mean, that aside, I think it was just I'm not gonna kill the ones I come across, but I need a distraction because I can only take on 20 at a time for so long before someone gets a lucky shot through coincidence. So like I think it was more to split the forces, but on their end they were gonna do the right thing. But she had to let Maul out because she needed their forces split. And she wasn't gonna tell Maul, "Hey, don't kill anyone." He would have been like, "Sure, yeah, I won't kill anyone."
Right.
Well, I didn't think that she was going to let him out just like that. I assumed that they were going to go and try and kill him, and he was going to know what was coming, and then use the Force on their asses like he did at the end and make them shoot each other or make them shoot the control panel to release him or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to have seen them working together, like an odd couple, but I've mentioned that a couple times before. But yeah, I don't know. And the same way you guys say it was well, I didn't like how the last two episodes, they kind of seem repetitive. It's just them trying to get off the doing the same shit, for like 40% of each episode.
Yeah, there was a lot of repetitiveness to that whole thing. It was like we're still on the ship, we're still running through that. That's a big thing. Like we saw a lot of corridors this season.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people running through them. Like every episode had a corridor scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that's okay, but
yeah, I mean,
yeah, I loved how Maul just peeked out and left everybody behind.
I was saying, that's my favorite. Like I've never seen Olympic runners run that fast. Like we've seen people speed through, but it's like they intentionally slowed down a little bit so you can see them hurdle over stuff and vastly leave them behind. I was laughing my ass off that whole sequence. I was like, he did. He was just like, he's like, "Thanks, y'all. Peace.
Yeah.
I'm gone."
Hey, and if I'm him, I'm going right towards Ventress to get her help instead of Ahsoka. That's a TV show they could make too.
Oh man, that would be
go.
sweet. But yeah,
We'll call it Star Wars Underworld.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that would be sweet. That would be sweet.
Right,
So
send me a check, Disney.
so we got the best and the worst episodes. Now I want to kind of just go into as a whole. I don't know how many of you went back through and watched everything. I watched everything. And do you think that as far as connectivity, this does leave a better ending than, say, the Lost episodes did? That it does feel like you could essentially take season 6 out, really, and just make this season 6?
I mean, I wouldn't say take season 6 out, but I mean, this does give you
Yeah.
a more proper ending than them saying, "Hey, I know we canceled Clone Wars, but hey, look, man, here's some episodes just to put out there for you to watch." That doesn't, give a proper conclusion to anything.
Right. Season 6 is more of like chronicles, whereas season 7 was a proper story ending.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good. What about you, Bert? How do you feel?
What's the question again?
Do you feel that this, if you watch it in order, which I'm sure you did, it
Mhm.
feels like
Oh
more
yeah,
of a flow
it
than
this
6?
definitely feels like more of an ending than did season 6 to me. Just the last season alone, that's a perfect ending. I mean, not what's perfect, right? That's subjective, but it for me, it's a very satisfying last sequence of events.
Yeah, yeah. I think that this gives it a lot more connectivity. And don't get me wrong, I'm probably in the vast minority of people. I actually enjoyed season 6,
I did
and I
too.
did. Yeah, I enjoyed the storylines that they were setting up, but it was really weird how they cut the arc because it felt like, oh, there was supposed to be more here, and then it just jumps to Yoda, and then like, oh, okay, we're off to Yoda, and then Yoda's ends really fucking weird, which I get what they were trying to do with connecting it to the whole becoming a Force Ghost thing that they bring up in Revenge of the Sith. So I get why it's there, but it was really disjointed. And
Mhm.
so, I felt like this at least had more of a flowing into the main story than the lost episodes. But yeah, overall, I'd say,
Well, I mean,
I got an
if
ending.
it's called the Clone Wars and you end the series with Darth Vader, I would say that's got to be more connected than what I don't remember the last episode of season 6. But if you're going to end it like that, that's quite obviously more connected to the ending of the Clone Wars. Like that is the thing. Order 66 wasn't necessarily the thing. Like Darth Vader getting turned into Darth Vader, that's when you know that the Clone Wars was over.
Mm.
Yeah, when he's standing over that, and I know I'm also in the vast minority who likes Rebels, but it also did do a lot of cool stuff at the end that linked Rebels and Clone Wars together, which I appreciated that because
Mhm.
then now I knew where Rex was, where
What, that
Ahsoka
she's been
was.
wearing that same robe for frickin' 20 years?
Right.
Yeah, yeah, well, like, because I watched that episode again and I go, oh, that's from the end of Clone Wars. Wait a second. I hope they have a good space dry cleaner because she's been wearing that shit for a long time. Like,
Man,
it's like,
Fucking A, man.
if I can remember, the final season, not final, the final episode of the Clone Wars Lost Mission season was Yoda seeing Qui-Gon or something.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
he learned the Force Ghost thing because Qui-Gon was the first one to become a Force Ghost.
Yeah, man. Like I said, man, that season was just a bunch of episodes that probably got cut from other seasons that they just threw out.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
they
that's what it
stitched
felt
him.
like. It seemed like season 6 almost reverted back to what they were doing in season 1, where they're jumping all over the place.
Yeah.
Gary North has an excellent question, and I'll pose it to everyone. What do you rate higher, Clone Wars Season 7 or The Mandalorian Season 1? Very good question. I'll start.
Ooh. Go to
Man,
somebody else first.
Dude, I'll go right off the bat, man. I like Clone Wars better. I like this final arc better than I like the entire season of The Mandalorian.
Ooh.
yeah, definitely Clone Wars, man. Like Mandalorian was cool. I enjoyed the season, but like they had an episode which was basically a clone of a Clone Wars episode. Um, then I mean, it was an okay. Like I enjoyed it. It wasn't amazing or anything. It was cool. I mean,
Yeah,
if
exactly.
and it was only 8 episodes. I mean, if you want to put the best 8 episodes of the Clone Wars to Mandalorian, I mean, it blows it out the water.
Are you talking about
Oh,
just
yeah.
this season or the whole show?
Season.
Yeah, I still agree. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, even if you took your favorite 8 and put it together, yeah, this doesn't even compare. And I think the hard part about comparing the two for me is that one is in its very first season, and you
Yeah.
can't tell a lot by the first season. You get an idea, but it hasn't really laid down its roots. Where Clone Wars is a veteran, it's gotten off the ground, it's got its stride, it knows what it is, and it's got its path. And I think we haven't really seen what the Mandalorian is trying to do or where they're trying to go. We got a hint, and we kind of now with everything coming out about that, and we'll talk about that too. But with everything coming out about the Mandalorian season 2, I think it's going to get more of its footing in season 2 than it did in season 1. It felt like a lot of ideas being thrown out, and they wanted to see with the fans what stuck and what didn't. Because when you really think about that show, they were making that show off of a lot of hate from the movie. We were coming off of Rise of Skywalker hate and all of that. So
Hold on. Has Gary North even watched season 1 of The Mandalorian? Like, I know he has a weird thing of just like not watching stuff just because.
That's a good question. I'm not sure if he's seen it. Maybe that's why he's asking us which one we liked better.
Oh.
Because
But
this is a tricky question. It's hard to compare a
Yeah.
cartoon to a live action,
Okay, he watched it.
especially when the live action isn't in the same vein as the cartoon. Yeah, they're both Star Wars shows, but the live action show is almost exclusively centered around not using the Force. Yeah, I understand that Baby Yoda has the Force, but for whatever reason, people in that show don't understand or know what it is or get the concept of it as all. It's freaking complete magic to them.
Yeah.
Whereas in the Clone Wars, it's almost exclusively about the Jedi, and then you also get to see the point of view from the clones. And then to Zod's point, one already has its footing, it's already connected, it's placed in the timeline, it has a bunch of characters that you already know. How many characters in The Mandalorian did we know before the show started? The answer is exactly 0.
yeah, people forget building up a show and establishing characters that people like and accept, especially in an established universe, is fucking hard to do because you're always going to, and we've seen it, get those assholes who come out and go, oh my God, like they're introducing this new character. I've never heard of them. They're not in the EU. This fucking sucks. What are they doing? Disney is just interjecting new things so they can push agendas. But it's not like that. It's like any other television show. You're trying to introduce and establish and world build in the universe, but a different world. So I almost say that The
Right.
Mandalorian has a harder job than Clone Wars.
Oh, yeah. The Mandalorian has a much tougher draw to pull in fans because it is, at least character wise, wholly original. You don't know any of the characters, at least in season 1, because, yeah, we know Boba Fett's going to get added, and they're probably going to add 1 or 2 other people that you may have known in the past. Like, the only thing in that entire show that any of us had ever seen before was the dark saber. That's the only thing in that show I had ever seen in any other Star Wars medium. Whereas in the Clone Wars, there's only 1 new character. Well, I guess 2. I don't remember seeing Captain Rex in the movies, but Cody's in the movies. All of the Jedi, except for maybe like 2 or 3, they're all in the movies. You might not get to know their characters, like Master Plo. You know, there's a couple of Jedi that you get to know better because of the show, but you had already been introduced to them. Like, you see Mace Windu, you're like, oh, sweet, we get to do a Mace Windu arc. I didn't get enough of him from the movies. You're never going to get to do that, at least for the near future with the Mandalorian. So, if you weigh all of those things, I would probably put the Clone Wars ahead of the Mandalorian
Mhm.
because for me, I mean, people that have listened to me before, I'm all about the connected universe. And obviously, the Mandalorian is connected, but there's just not as many connections that are apparent to you on the surface.
Well
Man,
put.
this is like comparing Seinfeld to a comedy on FX. Like two completely different things to
Oh,
me.
I got a good analogy. It would be like comparing orange juice to oranges. They're both very similar, but also very different.
Mm.
Yeah. So, I mean, hopefully in a very roundabout way we've answered it. Well, LB, what do you think? Because I don't know if you gave your explanation.
Think about what?
Uh, which was better, season 7 of the Clone Wars or Mandalorian
Well, I
season
mean,
1?
he
Yeah, I
gave his
said the Clone
answer. He
Wars.
said that he
Yeah.
likes the Clone Wars better, but
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think they're better, but like it's
they
two
just didn't
completely
have as
different
much
shows.
to say about it as I did because I went on a long diatribe.
Yeah, that's what I kind of forgot.
Hey, but that being said, see, I don't want to sound like an ungrateful person. I'm so excited. I cannot fucking wait till the Mandalorian season 2 comes out. I'm thirsty for new Star Wars.
Yeah, and I'm gonna jump into that because we got some exciting stuff to talk about with that. But I mean, yeah,
Fuck yeah.
it's a little bit different, but yeah, I'd put Clone Wars above Mandalorian season 1, and I think I gave one episode an 11 out of 10. So I mean, I respect it for what it is, and I respect it for being
Of
able to
course you did.
being able to edge out its little universe. That's really hard to do, and from constructing a whole show aspect, that takes a lot of talent and work to be able to have people accept your new universe. But Clone Wars is Clone Wars, man. You got OG characters, more lightsaber battles. You got emotional weight. And the only thing really Mandalorian stood out for at a point was Baby Yoda.
Which sold hella toys too.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh man, I ordered the Baby Yoda so I could have it for my reviews when the Mandalorian returns. Be like, what does Baby Yoda have to say?
Nice, dude.
Oh man, that thing is so freaking expensive. I'm starting to regret that. But yeah, so wrapping it all up, let's get our final
Bitchy
grade.
Unicorn is gonna let you use her Baby Yoda plush.
Oh no, man. When she saw it, she looked at the screen and it was I wish I would have recorded her reaction because I was watching it on the TV and she was like, "What the fuck is that?" She goes, "Is it a frog looking? Why is it moving?" She's like, "Ah," and I was like,
Hilarious.
"That's Baby Yoda."
That's
And she
pretty
goes,
cool.
she was like, "That is the ugliest thing I've ever seen." I was like, "Oh man, you should definitely post that on Twitter and watch the responses you get. There would be a lot of angry people on that. Like, you devil! What do you mean, Baby Yoda's the greatest?" Yeah, I don't even think like the people who like Baby Yoda even know what the show is about.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so let's go to grading the season as a whole. What is your
Definitely
guys'
a lot of
grade
them.
if you had
I had a friend that came over. She made Baby Yoda cookies for Christmas, and she'd never seen the show.
Oh.
That's awesome.
Oh man. But yeah, the overall grade of the entire season, we'll go down the line. We'll do the 1 out of 10 thing as a whole. We'll start with PV. What do you think if you had to give it from 1 to 10, the entire season? Where do you fall?
Probably fall somewhere around an 8.5. Sounds about right. Because you go from really good to not so good to epic.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. Burt, what about for you?
I'd give it a 7.3.
Yeah,
And the
that's
7
pretty
point, my
respectable.
7.3 is not
Okay.
bad. That's a pretty good rating. I'm doing it like how they do in IMDb. Like if it's a 7.3,
Right, as long as you're not doing as long as you're not doing it like Zod, where you go, oh, it's 7.3, it's trash.
Oh no, like a 7.3 on IMDb is a really pretty darn good film.
Yeah,
Yep.
I don't know how their metric system works.
Well, I gotta okay, 1 through 10, right? The first arc for me is an 8. The second arc is a 6, and the last arc is a 10. So I guess it should be
Nice.
an 8.
That seems pretty reasonable.
There you go. 8.
Mr. LB, where would you rate it from 1 to 10?
I give it a 4 out of 10. It was amazing.
I see what you did there. I'm not changing my mind on Black Panther. Okay, I could still have it as a 7.5 artistically and trash as a movie.
Nah, I think I said a 8.5 or a 9 the other day. So yeah, 8.5 or a 9. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Wasn't perfect. Wasn't the best thing ever. But it was a satisfying conclusion. Don't be coming out here making the Clone Wars the somebody random character sessions or the Clone Wars before the Clone Wars and all that stupidness. Just let it ride out, people. Move on. That's one thing that Disney is having the issue with. They're doing too much nostalgia. Like, we can move forward. I mean, we can still do some previous stuff, like, just have it after the Clone Wars. Like, you could do a Darth Vader series or whatever, a Maul series, but don't go back to the Clone Wars, people.
Yeah, I would agree. This felt like final, and that it's a good place to leave it off. I hate Disney having their hands on these things, because with the way they've been treating their Disney originals, I don't want that to be the case for this and be like Clone Wars 2.0. Like, no, just let it be. It had a good send off. We got, for the most part, it has decent rating. It's well received. Just let it die right there and let the back end of this be left alone, because we like the back end. You want to fix something up? Do a re-release of the new sequel trilogy. Fucking reboot that, please.
I'm a big fan of the back end, as long as it's thick.
And thick it is, P. Thick it is. But no, I think this is a good stopping point, and I think if they continue in this path of giving people what they want out of Star Wars and stop doing storyboards about being diverse, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Throw those writers and that storyboard in the fucking trash, or keep it in the AEU, because no one reads anyways. And
Okay.
we'll be good.
I know everybody, when they seen that storyboard, they were all upset that it said diversity on the board. You know what I was upset about that board? We're talking about fucking Star Wars, and it said no war.
It's just stars.
I was like, no, man, I don't care what the story is, but somebody better be trying to kill somebody at some point, because this is fucking Star Wars.
Right.
Yeah, it felt like it felt like, hey, we're doing a Star Wars story, but guess what? We're gonna be trendy. We're gonna be edgy. There's gonna be no wars. We're gonna fight with words.
Yeah, right.
You guys ready for safe space battles? Oh
Oh
God.
yeah, it'll just be they'll call it Star Wars. This is the Senate.
Because no one wants a Star Wars story that's just gonna be politician. Could you picture Star Wars, the politician wars, where they're just fighting battles on the Senate floor? Who the fuck wants to
Oh
watch
my
that?
god.
I'd watch
Be
that.
like, hey, do you want to see the Emperor? Well, I guess he's the Chancellor at the time,
Yeah.
standing in the middle of the room talking, or do you want to see him standing in the middle of the room trying to kill Yoda? Your choice.
It depends if he's debating Padme and her fat ass.
That's true.
Well,
That's true. She's definitely hotter than her daughter. They should put her in that fucking chain and bikini.
Oh, yes, yes. But yeah, so that's the wrap up on this, and we're all gonna miss it, but please, Disney, just take our advice and let this be and give us a Vader show. Everybody wants Darth Vader.
Oh,
I don't care if it's animated, just let Filoni do it and
Yeah.
his team and give us a Darth Vader killing Jedi every week. I will be
yeah,
thoroughly
like
happy
I
with
don't
that.
know how long they can drag that out, but all of us know that for 20 years, for this in between time where there's no material, he's going around hunting down Force users all over the place. Sounds like a pretty great fucking show to me.
Oh yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah, I would too.
Because I mean, if you like connect it not necessarily directly to like Empire Strikes Back or whatever, I'm sure you're gonna get a bunch of story arcs or scenes or whatever where he's dealing with bounty hunters and sending them out. So you're gonna get a bunch of bounty hunter arcs too.
Amen. Yeah, that would be cool. They don't
Yes,
like money.
Yeah, most definitely, and we'd get to see more above Fett, which I could always do with. Like, I would just love a show with him hunting people down. Oh wait, Mandalorian. Shit.
Yeah.
I wish there was a show where they hunted bounties, and then every week he'd get a new bounty and turn it in.
but
Oh,
they
that would be
did
a
that
great
and
show.
people complained.
Yeah.
Right.
But,
Like you can, like you're saying, every week is a new bounty, and when you get to one that is like a little more difficult, that can be a 2-part, 3-part, 4-part, depending on how difficult it is to bring that particular bounty in.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be very interesting. Yeah, but anyways, this
So yeah,
was a good
they
wrap.
got plenty of material to work with. So I'm still excited for the future. I don't give a shit how bad their movies were.
I hope that when we see Boba Fett in The Mandalorian, it's not, oh, Boba Fett has transitioned into a woman now.
No. Speaking
Oh
of
God.
speaking of which, talking about that, they are casting the person who played Jango Fett as Boba Fett.
Yeah,
So
Tamara
that's
Morrison.
an excellent.
Oh,
That doesn't mean
okay.
he can't be a woman,
Right.
because
Right.
that does go on in society right now.
Oh God,
as a-
transitioning Fett.
My dad is Polynesian, and I'd have to say that happens less in Polynesian culture, though. PB or LB. I don't know any Samoan people or Tongan people or anybody who've cut the D off.
Oh,
No, because they're not fucking stupid. Sorry, that's stupid. I can't think of any other word for that. I mean, I liken that to, I remember, I don't know, it was like 5-10 years ago. I don't remember what it was. what I was looking up, and I come across this anorexia fucking thing, and they're like, hey, if you want to lose weight, the quickest and easiest way to lose weight is just cut a limb off.
What?
I was like, are you fucking kidding me? If you want to drop 20 pounds, just chop off your lower leg.
That's crazy.
I was like, yeah, that's a fucking mental disorder. But chopping off your peen is not a mental disorder. That's
Right.
perfectly appropriate. No, it's not.
Right.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got some exciting casting news. They are talking, which we covered before, Ahsoka making appearance, and now Boba Fett, which answers the question, whose boots was it? And I just like to reiterate that I had the hypothesis that it was Boba Fett, so I feel all sorts of great for that, because I was like, I don't know. And then we went to Cad Bane, and still no Cad Bane, but they could bring him in, and we could see LB's favorite deleted scene of Cad Bane versus Boba Fett.
It's not deleted if it was never really created.
Oh, they'll just create the scene
Dude,
where those two face off.
That would be so cool to see Cad Bane on live action.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean they could do
Especially
it
with how they can do it now with the nice motion capture, because
Yeah.
he's going to look as good, if not better, than like Korg or something like that.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
because he would look more humanoid.
some lonely milk would definitely spray some places.
Oh,
How old is this guy if he was playing Jango Fett in, what,
It's-
2002?
Hey, he played the Rocks. He played Jason Momoa's dad in Aquaman.
Oh, yeah.
How could we
So-
forget?
I've only seen it twice, which is twice as much as you, LB.
Yeah, too many times.
But why didn't they cast the kid to do this? He'd be the right age, wouldn't he?
I think the kid is like a midget.
Oh. He
he's
didn't
not the clone.
grow up like he was supposed to.
Right. The guy has to look like Jango Fett.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
yeah. So that's some
Because I
pretty
was
good.
gonna say, like when he was a kid, he looked pretty damn similar, because he was supposed to be not exactly like the clones because he was unaltered, but very similar.
I think he's the voice actor who plays Boba Fett in the Clone Wars, if I'm not mistaken. The child actor of Boba Fett.
Oh wow.
Oh.
I might be wrong on that. I might have just pulled that one out of my ass, but that's what I think.
Wow.
Well, that'd be
That is
cool.
very interesting. Yeah, that would be a good connection there. Yeah, I think that it's a great casting choice. I mean, I've seen the guy in other stuff too, so I mean, and he understands the character. Here's the thing that I like with the casting that they're doing is that they're getting people who can either play the character or understand the character, which I think is a big highlight for this show. It's like, even if you don't like a couple of the episodes, they at least understand what Star Wars is, or at the very least what we want out of Star Wars in this show. So I do appreciate it for that, and it'll be very interesting to see what season 2 brings. In terms of story, do you think they're going to go with the a different bounty every episode, or are they going to go more with a linear story, a straight arc, if you will? What do you guys think?
I think it's going to be a straight
I
story
think
arc.
that I think they've gotten away from the bounties. Like, I think we've all been played on this is going to be a bounty hunter show. I mean, how many bounties did he collect in season 1? One?
He got a couple. I mean, he got like 10 in like one episode, I think.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, after episode 1, how many did he collect?
Yeah, that's
rewatch
true.
the season now. I don't know the season like the back of my hand.
Me
That was
neither.
true. Not that many. It became more
Right.
about
So
Baby Yoda.
I have a feeling that if I'm pretty sure that the boots are Boba Fett, like you called that right, Zod. You were the first person that I heard say it. I'm sure there was probably one or two other people out there in the world that said it, but you were the first person that I heard say it. He's still going around collecting bounties. He's probably going to be the one hunting Baby Yoda now.
Yeah.
Or the Mandalorian, because remember, the Empire had put a bounty on the Mandalorian, which is why the Assassin Guild turned on him in the first place.
Right.
And if
Right.
he's
So,
starting,
right. He'll be, I don't know if he knows if they're together. He might know it. So it'll be like doing a 2-for-1 collection.
not to mention too, one thing that I think the Mandalorian highlights really well is that bounty hunters are a bunch of competitive, very narcissistic group. They want to be the best. They want to have their name in the big marquee. And the Mandalorian right now is the man, so to speak, when you get to the end of the episode. But Boba Fett was the man, and it could just be he's hunting him just because he wants that title back. Because remember, before the Mandalorian emerged, it was Boba Fett collecting Jedi, collecting other high-value targets for the Empire. So that's got to factor into him going, whoa, 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 whoa. I've been in this Sarlacc pit, just chilling. I used Ray's body to get out. I'm sorry, I just ad-libbed that. I used a bunch of bodies to get out of this thing, and I come out, and this unknown Mandalorian guy is stealing my clout. I don't fucking think so.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
That'd be interesting. I wonder if they're going to tell us, because I don't read any of the comic books or any of that, how long Boba Fett was in the Sarlacc pit for before he got out.
it was, I believe, like 3 or 4 years.
I hope we get to find out if he's actually a Mandalorian or if he just wears the armor.
What constitutes a Mandalorian? Is Jango Fett a Mandalorian?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then Boba Fett's got to be a Mandalorian. He's got the genetics.
Yeah, you're right.
Not to mention too.
It's going to come down to what Obi-Wan Kenobi said. Point of view. Like what they said before is Boba Fett and Jango Fett aren't real Mandalorians because they're not from Mandalore. But now in The Mandalorian, they say, well, Mandalorian is just like a state of mind, essentially. Or it's like what you believe in, or it's how you were raised, or, whatever cliche you want to use.
But that's what I meant, PB, was that, what if Jango was just wearing the armor?
Oh, okay. Like cultural appropriation.
Yeah, exactly. Because I didn't see a lot. They all look like they're Lannisters in Mandalore.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
I was wondering that same thing when I don't remember the old alien's name who says, I have spoken. But when he said, I've only heard the stories, is he talking about Mandalore itself and their culture of being warriors and stuff like that? Or is he talking about Mandalorians as bounty hunters because their culture has been destroyed? I don't know.
That's a good question. I think
never answer that question, and that was the one big question I had with what he said. When he said, I've heard the stories, I was like, okay, what story? Of who? Of when?
Right. but nobody knows what the Force is.
Right. You heard all these stories about a culture that's been, from what we can tell, completely destroyed. Like the dark saber isn't there anymore, quite obviously. So
Right.
the Mandalorians aren't in control of that. And from what we've been told, whoever has the dark saber rules Mandalore. So this fucking Moff Gideon is the ruler of Mandalore. Well, obviously it don't fucking exist anymore. And you know all these stories, but yeah, you don't know what the Force is? Come on now.
Yeah, that's some true stuff right there. Yeah, it'll
I mean,
be
that would
interesting.
be like being an archaeologist. So you've gone through all of your classes, you've learned about, history for thousands of years, and you know everything about Egypt's history, but you don't know anything about Greek history. It's not going to happen.
Also, too, they're going to, from what I hear, that an interview that Mr. Filoni did, they said they were going to touch on how the Darksaber came into the possession of Moff Gideon and what happened to Sabine, which I was curious about because Sabine's one of my favorite characters. I guess I gravitate towards anyone who dual wields guns. So
That's fair.
So yeah, I was like, she was resilient and pretty badass. I liked her character overall. So it'll be interesting to see. Clearly, they're tying in now Rebels to the timeline of the movies. So it'll be interesting to see all of that come to life. We got Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka. I'm still on the fence about that because I still feel like I don't know. She's a good actress, but I got to see her as a Jedi. I'm still with LB. Maybe they should have casted Brie Larson.
Brie Larson's coming, don't you worry.
Oh, God. Can we? Oh, I'm not even going to go there with the comment in my head that I'm thinking about because that would just be too much. So I'm actually going to censor myself on the Brie Larson hatred for now until Captain Marvel 2 comes out. So anyways, this has been really awesome, kind of a sad day for us here, talking about the end of an era, the end of a very good Clone Wars era. But we're just going to go down the line, get people's channels, and I'm going to take my hat and wait until The Mandalorian comes out. Grow my beard back. And Dave Filoni will ride again. Mr. Burt, tell them about your channel and what you got going on and, what videos you got coming or out or about to be out.
You don't know.
Wow, there's got a lot of stuff going.
What's going on?
What?
All right, well,
first?
Right? You're waiting on PB, right?
No, PB always goes last.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was having a computer malfunction. What was the question?
What videos you got coming out? What things you got going on?
I got a bunch of Nightmare on Elm Street shit coming out. I'm making I'm working on another Nightmare on Elm Street project, and Tuesday night I'm doing a live watch of a Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, the Gay Freddy film.
Wow, that's a segue. Gay Freddy.
The Freddy's Revenge. It's known as the Gay Freddy film. If you guys have watched it, you would know.
Yeah, the kid. Yeah.
Yeah, and Freddy comes out of his closet, and
Yeah.
And like the team coach has him in the shower spanking his ass. The kid. I mean, it's pretty. They end up at a gay S&M bar, but it's still an awesome '80s horror film. So check it out.
Yeah, that's a bad lead-in. Freddy out of the closet. Yeah, definitely check those out. It's cool and it's good to get that throwback, man. Nightmare on Elm Street is a classic, and in that era of like Jason, Michael Myers, and Freddy Krueger, Freddy was really unique because fuck, who isn't scared of something that can kill you in your dreams? Like you
Mhm.
can't run anywhere. It eliminated the cliche of oh my god,
Right.
trip, killer kills me. It was like you can't run in a dream.
No, that's my
Oh,
number
you
one.
have that problem where you get stuck in your dreams and you run in place?
I never dream about exercising.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, but no, Nightmare on Elm Street 1 is probably my favorite horror film of all time, at least in the 80s.
I mean, Johnny Depp,
Yeah,
like young Johnny Depp.
for sure. And dude, the third one, that's Johnny Depp's first acting role. The third one is Lawrence Fishburne and Patricia Arquette's first role. I mean, they hit it out of the box when they were casting young talent.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. It's so weird to see Lawrence Fishburne in that role too.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's gonna be interesting. I can't wait for you to get to Dream Warriors because that's my favorite one.
Oh yeah, that's I can't wait. That's my second favorite one. But I can't wait. That's like 2 weeks from now. But yeah, Zod, if you're free, come on that night. You know, everybody's invited.
I'll do
Oh
her.
my goodness, we've got someone else joining us. Hello there.
Hi. I know I'm kind of late to the party, but
Oh, what's
I saw
up?
your message late. Actually, I was just doing like Mother's Day stuff, and that's when I saw your message. So that's why I'm kind of late. But
Happy Mother's Day, Ahsoka fan.
you too. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Yes, and a happy Mother's Day to you. Good to have you on. I understand I was doing stuff with my mom, and then the communist healthcare system made her work on Mother's Day. So,
Yeah. No, I know it happens sometimes for sure.
yeah, it was. So, yeah. I guess I could ask you the question I asked everyone else, what you thought of the final season before we wrap it up, because I was getting ready to wrap everything down. You know, first off, let people know who you are, and then kind of give us your feelings on the season and what you think.
Oh, sure, yeah. Yes, my name's Ahsoka Tano fan on YouTube. I actually started this channel like halfway through the Ahsoka Walkabout arc, so I haven't actually reviewed online like all the other episodes. But yeah, I mean, overall, the last arc was definitely my favorite one. The first 2 arcs, they had some episodes that were a bit slow, but I think in hindsight, looking back at it, it really helped to kind of supplement the final arc by kind of giving us that backstory on Ahsoka and Rex mainly. So that part I did appreciate. But yeah, I mean, overall, like it was still like a fitting end to the series. I think that last arc really did the whole season justice. So yeah, I would say I enjoyed it overall, like looking back at it. How do you guys feel?
Yeah, I was just saying overall we weren't supposed to get another season, so it felt good to get a definitive close, whereas the season 6 was kind of all over the place. This felt like a good close to the flow of the story as opposed to just random episodes thrown all together and be like, here you go. This is the final season. This is the best we got, people.
Yeah. Right. It was nice to have a proper end for sure. Because prior to this season, everything was kind of up in the air, you know. So it was nice to get a proper wrap up. But hopefully we'll still get to see the other arcs in some form, like whether it's animated or like through books or something, you know, because I would have liked to have seen some of what else they were planning. But
oh no, a book? I can't do that.
Another book, right? Yeah, lots of books.
Yeah, PB is all about the books.
Read. I can't be reading books.
I know. The animated shows are what like I really like to watch, but we'll see. Maybe in some form we can get something, you know, in the future. So.
And have you checked out the Mandalorian?
Do you have a 1 through 10 that you can rate the season?
What was that?
Do you have a 1 through 10 that you can rate the season?
Oh, like a rating out of 10?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I would say probably like an 8 or something like that. Like
Yup.
around, because
Okay.
there's some slow episodes, but yeah, I mean, the last arc really made up for everything. But I still, I would have liked, I mentioned this before as well in my videos. I would have liked to have seen Ahsoka and Maul team up. I do kind of feel like that was a missed opportunity. That's like the one thing that stopped the last arc from being perfect, I think. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen that. But yeah, probably like an 8 out of 10, I would give it, I would say.
Yeah, I
So
was hoping for a little bit of my enemy too.
Yeah, they set it up, and so I was kind of expecting it, and then they kind of just dropped the ball on it. It's like, oh, okay, I guess they're not teaming up. And then I guess I held up hope in the finale that they would team up then, and then yeah, just more of the same, like they weren't teaming up at all. So yeah, I don't know, that would have been kind of nice to see. I think I don't know that I really like that they weren't together in the end, but yeah, that's like the one thing I would say. Yeah.
Now, have you watched The Mandalorian?
I have, yes. It's been a while since I last watched it, but I watched season 1. Yeah.
So, what are your feelings about the casting and the new casting choices that they've made for the Mandalorian season 2? They've got Rosario Dawson signed on to do Ahsoka. They're talking now about Boba Fett, which yes, he's my
Yeah,
favorite bounty hunter. So
yeah, I was like, I just been reading that news because I know it was all coming out this week, basically, right? It's still I don't. Wait, is this confirmed or rumors now, or like everything we're hearing has been confirmed, right? I think with the casting.
yeah, the casting has been confirmed for Bobo and for Ahsoka. Filoni was in an interview, and he's now talking, and we don't know if he's just throwing this out there, but he's even saying he's going to mention or maybe something in the series with Sabine and how the whole dark saber came to be in the possession of Moff Gideon. So they're going to throw in a Sabine reference in there somewhere because she was the last one to hand off the dark saber, and she was with Ahsoka at the end of Rebels. So if she shows up without her, that'd be kind of weird.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I guess maybe they're gonna plan on setting this up for like a future Rebels sequel as well, right? I think that's the plan that I was hearing, or
Yeah.
I think that, but no, like I mean, it sounds good. Like I'm excited to see these characters finally be in live action. It should be interesting to see where they go with it and how many episodes they'll appear in. Like I don't know if it's just one or if it's going to be like a big bulk of the season. Yeah, like I'm definitely excited to see where it goes. I think it would be nice too, though, to kind of allow the Mandalorian also to stand on its own. I don't want it. Like, how do I say it? I don't want it to turn into relying on other characters too much. As excited as I am to see them, I feel like that was one problem I had with the recent movies. I felt like they kind of relied too much on past characters, but they didn't build enough on their own characters, like bringing back Palpatine and, but they had Snoke and they killed him off so quickly. They didn't really explore him. You know what I mean? Like, so that's, I kind of hope it doesn't turn into that, but like, for sure, I'd be excited to see where they go with it. And then if Dave Filoni's in charge, like I know he knows what he's doing. So yeah, like it should be good to see, I think.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. They really relied a lot on the old Star Wars universe, and if you want to introduce new characters, the best way to do that is to let your new characters kind of shine and have their moments, and don't cut their legs out by like going, oh yeah, well, we have so much little faith in our characters that hey, this person, look, old Star Wars. Continue watching. I don't want that either.
Exactly.
I think the Mandalorian himself built up a pretty cool rep. Like from the onset, I really liked his vibe and everything. The only thing that annoyed me is that then it became the Baby Yoda show, and he was like, and I felt like he kind of almost took a back seat in his own show, and I would like to see more of him, like doing his thing. especially if you're introducing Boba Fett. I think it would be great for them to have a rivalry. Like, came out of the Sarlacc pit. He's like, who's this new guy taking my title? And you have these two legends going at it.
Yeah, no, exactly. And maybe they will focus more on him that way in the season. Who knows, right? Because I don't know, when they first introduced Baby Yoda, like, I don't know if they knew or expected that he would kind of steal the show in that sense, with all like the memes there are. But yeah, no, it'd be nice to see a rivalry there for sure. That would kind of give it, them a chance to develop his character a bit more. So yeah, maybe that's why they're introducing him too. I don't know.
Yes, and welcome.
What was that?
It's exciting to this is what good Star Wars is. When you produce good Star Wars, you have us speculating and the excitement that all this talk. That's what I love about this stuff.
Yeah, no, exactly. We always wonder like how it'll tie into other series and the movies and whatnot. How it'll set up things for the future as well. Yeah, so I mean, it should be interesting to see overall.
Yeah,
I'm
definitely on top of that. I've seen some people complain about like they're bringing back the actor, like why do we need Boba Fett? Like, dude, I will snort all the nostalgia lines, like I just love everything, the connectivity of it all.
Here's what I say to that argument when they say, oh, why are they bringing back Boba Fett? Well, really think about in the movies, he is the most shafted character in Star Wars history. I'm sorry. I know there's a joke about the X-Wing pilot who was killed like immediately, and everyone likes him for some reason. Forgot his damn name. But in the final like Death Star scene, he's one of the guys who gets killed, and then he's got his own set of stories. But like Boba Fett, when you really think about what he did in the course of those two movies, Empire and Return of the Jedi, he was standing in the background. He captured Han. He got killed. There was like, and he was so badass. Like he stands in the corner and you're like, who's this guy? He's really frightening looking. And then you go, oh, this guy caught Han Solo, the most notorious smuggler ever. This guy is a badass. And then his jetpack malfunctions and he goes into a giant plant pit thing. And it's like, oh, okay.
You know what? It's almost kind of like with Darth Maul, I find, in The Phantom Menace, because you're kind of wondering like, who's this cool guy? And then he just gets like cut in half, like. So it's good that they're bringing back, both characters in that sense, like giving us a chance to see them in action more. Because when you have good characters like that, you have to keep them around for a while. I find you can't just like kill them off so quickly. So
yeah, I mean, even in Clone Wars, Lil Boba Fett, he did some awesome stuff, but I'm like, he's a kid. There's really, you can't see him actually like bounty hunting. You saw him like maneuvering and manipulating and betraying people and learning how to do that aspect of the job, but he wasn't like really hands-on killing anyone yet. So it's still like the most you get is if you read like Jedi Academy or one of those books, or the Boba Fett book that they have, or Shadows of the Empire, where he actually escaped and they mention what he's been doing, that kind of a thing. Then you get a little bit more of an insight of what he's been doing, but it's great to see it done live action. I want live action.
Yeah.
Him just being badass.
Yeah, that's a good point. Nothing's better than the live action, right?
No.
Yeah.
What was that, Burt?
Oh no, I was just agreeing with you guys.
Well, what do you guys think of oh, sorry?
Oh no, continue.
Oh no, I was wondering what do you guys think specifically of Rosario Dawson? Like I said, excited to see.
I love Rosario Dawson.
How toxic is my answer supposed to be?
As toxic as you want it to be.
She's stacked.
This is one thing. Like,
she seems like she's a good choice to play the character. She's not like super tall or super short, so she's the right size. She has enough comedic training that she's not like a super serious actor. So I think that she'll be a good enough choice for the role, and it's something that she will be able to ingratiate herself into the community quite well.
I
Yeah.
I agree, but I kind of wish I like Ashley Eckstein too, or at least using her voice. I wish somehow you could still keep Ahsoka's voice.
Yeah, 'cause her voice is pretty iconic. I agree with you there too. I mean, like, yeah, I think what you're saying, like, oh, sorry.
Oh, it'll be interesting. I was wondering that too with the voice. If they're going to run it through some type of filter to make her sound similar.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like they may not do that because I mean, according to Ashley, I don't think she's involved at all. But I mean, this is my thing. Like, I like Rosario too. I've seen her in a lot of different like shows and movies and whatnot. I just hope that she's equally a fan of the character as she is of Star Wars. Because I do remember reading an interview with her, and I know she was saying like, "Oh yeah, being in Star Wars is so cool, and I'd love to be in Star Trek too. And once I add both those to my resume, like I can retire." And I just hope that she realizes how big a character she's playing, and how like important the character is to fans across the world,
Right.
and that she really loves the character, not just like adding Star Wars to her resume kind of thing. That was sort of the impression I got from that interview.
She's gonna find out when her Twitter blows up when she starts, playing the role. But
Yeah.
hey, it's good talking to you guys. I got to run and do some Mother's Day stuff. But thanks for having me on, Zod, and everybody. PB, LB, and Ahsoka fans. It's been fun talking to you guys. Star Wars.
Yeah, for sure. Nice seeing you again.
Later, guys.
See you, Burt.
Talk to you later.
But yeah, I agree. And my only big thing with casting Rosario is the fact that that I have seen her in other movies, and for me, her acting is a hit or miss, or she always falls into the same kind of acting role. Like, for instance, Marvel's Netflix, look at her character. She's like the relatable, everyday person who doesn't take crap from the heroes, and then, eventually becomes into that inner circle and builds up her own thing. She plays her range a little bit differently than most actresses. And then in like Zombieland, she had that funny thing going, but it was still the same kind of character. So I would like to see if she can kind of get out of that box and do something different. And it's like coming back to what you said, she's really got to understand who the character is and what she's playing, and then figure out how she's going to portray that, and not build the resume up, because we all saw what happened to Daisy and Adam Driver. You don't want to fall into that,
No,
or
exactly.
Boryega.
I know. She's gotta. I mean, we'll see. She's gotta like for sure like understand. And pronounce the name right too. I saw her mispronounce the name one time. I was like, oh, I don't know how I feel about that. But yeah, it's okay. I mean, I'm sure like she's been given all the training and everything. So we'll see like how she does soon enough.
So yeah, we're all gonna be hyped, and if it permits, I don't know. Maybe we can get this crew back together and talk Mandalorian. That'd be great, because I'm always dying to talk about something on Sundays, and like everything is leaving and there's nothing. We all have it like, no, Clone Wars is over. What am I going to talk about? Power ended. All this stuff is ending. So it'll be nice to have something that we can all chat about. Because look, at the end of the day, what Clone Wars was, and swinging it back to Clone Wars, what Clone Wars was and why it's so near and dear to everyone's heart, what the prequels were, whether you like or hated them, they were Star Wars. They were something for us all to theorize, speculate, get together on, have friendly debates. And over the past couple of years, with the new sequel trilogy, they became this thing of people arguing and fighting and being vicious, because for older fans, it wasn't the Star Wars we grew up with. It was vastly different. It was poorly written. there were a lot of things that you felt like the people didn't understand the Star Wars universe. And I want more of that. I want more of a discussion, more of a happy debate on plot points, as opposed to diversity and all the other stuff that's in the newer films. Like, the characters is what the universe is supposed to be about. So let's hope we get that. That's my deep thoughts for the night.
For sure. And also more lightsaber duels. I love lightsaber duels. We need to add more of them for sure.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. PB does too.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Wouldn't you agree, PB?
It's all about the lightsaber duels and the dog fights, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and I see King Sloan say that the prequels got him into the regular Star Wars. And here's the thing: when it started, there was a big like divide between prequel and original. You had the back and forth, but it's nothing like the sequel trilogy. You got a lot of people now who go, you know what? Even me, like, the prequels weren't that bad. We got the sequel trilogy. When you take it all into hindsight, yeah.
People are roasting the sequel trilogy a lot more.
It's like, yeah, it's like this would definitely bridge the gap and stuff. But I'm gonna be wrapping this up because I got a Penny Dreadful review I've got to do, and it's another live stream.
7 minutes.
So we got Kermit out of the way. Go ahead, Miss Tano. Go tell everyone about your channel and all of the great content you've got or got coming out, or all of that stuff.
So I just started this channel about a month ago. So far, I've been doing like reviews of and reactions of the Clone Wars episodes, and I plan to continue that with different Star Wars shows as well, including The Mandalorian. And I'll probably do more like cosplay stuff, just really all Star Wars related content. So I'm excited to see where it goes. It's kind of like what you were saying. I always had a desire to talk to people about episodes and get their thoughts and how they felt about certain things. And so that's what made me just kind of start this channel where I could do that and interact with the fan base and the community. So yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes, but I have lots more planned for the future.
Nice. So yeah, we're definitely going to be looking forward to seeing what you put out there. By the way, that was an awesome looking cosplay costume you had for your review. I cosplay as my brother Dave Filoni, so. So, Mr. Lonely Kennedy, what do you got coming out?
This week we're doing the I don't know if you follow this, but Swiss Beats and Timberland announced that Nelly and Ludacris are going to be battling next weekend on Instagram Live. So me and my homies going to stream about that and give our thoughts on it on Wednesday. Then Friday or Saturday? When is it? Friday? Saturday, the 16th, we're doing the Force Awakens watch along. So, yeah, that's my week.
Yeah, that's going to be epic. I like both Luda and Nelly. I can't pick a side.
Nelly's number one. Day. There's a whole song about it.
No matter if you like it. Mr. Pop Culture PB, why don't you tell them about the great stuff you have, and I guess plug our Prophets of Geek Culture channel, because you're going to anyways, you son of a bitch.
That's right. That's what I do. Yeah, you can find me at Pop Culture PB on YouTube and on Twitter. I talk about Star Wars, Marvel, DC, do the occasional video just for fun. It probably has a dog or a cat in it if you like that. You can find it on my channel. Or you can find me and General Zod and Perp Minded and Stevie J Reviews and Cybernetic Husky at Prophets of Geek Culture. The last video I put out there was talking about the newest Marvel show coming to Disney Plus called The Fury Files. So go check it out.
Yes, definitely, because that is coming out this Friday, and I feel like PB, we have to have a whole separate discussion about this. It'll be something for us to stream. Yay. Disney Plus Mystery dropped it, so that'll be interesting to see what they do with that. And of course, you've been chilling with General Zod, the master villain in the fandom zone. Definitely check out the next stream I'll be doing in about an hour of Penny Dreadful Season 3. And I'm going to do a live stream. I'm going to give a non-spoiler in the beginning and then spoil the shit out of the episode. And don't worry, I'll tell you when I'm getting ready to do that. And then I'm going to do a couple of other different reviews and stuff. This Monday, I'm going to do a special talk with Chris Knight. We're just going to bullshit just because we want to hang out. So come by and join that. And me and Perp, we're going to talk about Westworld Season 3 and why people need to stop calling it woke. Because just because it has a female cast doesn't mean it's woke, people. Shut up. Stop. It's getting old. Grow up. Anyways, as always, you guys have been chilling here in the fandom zone, and I have but only one rule, the golden rule: kneel before General Zod.
I like that.
No way, man. Not even since you shaved off that terrible mustache.